starting Monday, we'll do 90 days straight. We have to run 5 miles every day, or we'll owe each other $10 for every day that we don't complete the task.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know you're not.
Greetings, everyone. This is Mike, and this is the Daily podcast, the weekly bread, and it's where I just talk about things and have you get to know me as I guess the third wall is broken down here, because it's like you see the comic, but who's drawing it? Who is this mastermind behind the doodles? And this is where you get to find out about that is I, who was the drawer. Yeah, so I was trying to think about like what to talk about today, and I think I'm going to talk about this new challenge I gave myself with my buddy Bob. We're doing 90 days of running, and you can either run 1 to 5 miles is like the challenge, I guess, or like what you have to do. So there's been a couple days where I haven't really felt that great, just like sore, and then I'm like, all right, just do like a mile, but at least I'm getting it in. But before all of that, real quick, just want to mention my book that's out, The Couples Checklist. It's you can go to yourdailybred.com to check it out, BRED. It's for couples to give them fun things to do with each other. And it's a mixture of cute and also like aggressive things. So it's meant to be just a conversation piece. And you should go check it out. And there's some sample pages on the website. And you should buy it for yourself, or you buy it for a friend. Okay, cool. Back to this 90-day challenge thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of, like, if I feel stagnant, I try to give myself something to do or a goal, because I'm pretty much by myself with everything I do. Like, I work for myself. I'm a single guy, and this pretty much establishes like my personal life. It's me by myself, and then my business life, it's me by myself, and that's it. And it's hard to like give yourself like goals, or it's like not hard to, it's like you have to, just to kind of stay moving along, especially in business or personal stuff. It's more health wise, I guess. I mean, I kind of live a pretty chill life. I don't really do anything crazy. I don't really have these ambitions to like climb a fucking mountain, or like go and do extreme sports or anything like that, or go like hike the Appalachian Trail by myself. I mean, that's now. Who knows? One day, one of those things may be my thing that I'm going for. But through working for yourself, you find that when you're in it, you have to be like, all right, well, my goal here is to make money, but also I have to stay sane. So what you find is that there's a lot of collections of books and information out there from people who have been entrepreneurs. And they talk about this balance between, there's the business side, where you have to be structured and know marketing and sales and all the foundational things of business, like how to work with numbers, know what's working, know what your margins are, and things like that. But then there's the spiritual side that I found out about when I started really reading about books, because people would kind of like mention how like the universe and law of attraction and manifesting, and that's a huge thing in business and success books. Like, it is just in your face. They don't hide it. They're like, yeah, like you have to. It's like when you set a goal, you look ahead and you set a goal. Like, think about yourself, like whoever's listening. Think about all the things you've accomplished that were exciting. Like like when you were younger, if you wanted to play sports, if you were in a play, or you wanted to do like get a bike or a toy or something, and then later on in life you wanted to maybe go to school, or you didn't want to go to school, but like me, you wanted to play in a band or something that was different than school. And then later on in life you wanted this job, or you wanted to meet this person and date them. And if you really look back, if it was something that you really wanted, you kind of in your mind established that was going to be the thing you wanted. You didn't know how you're going to get there. You just felt that you were there, and then if you look back, you can see all these moments where you're like, holy shit, like I obsessed about these things, and then it happened. Which sounds kind of crazy if you're talking about like dating. It's like I obsessed about somebody, and I just stalked them. So so in business it's the same thing, and it's a lot of businesses like you have to if you're going after a goal, you also have to want to get there. Like you have to kind of feel that you're at the end at the finish line, but you're not really sure how to get there, and you have to kind of like manifest things. You have to kind of like ask for things, and then you have to be aware when help shows up, basically. So this kind of goes back to the whole 90 days of running. So a couple weeks ago, like I just been feeling just like blah, and I've been going to CrossFit again since November, and it's a cool gym, and I really like it, and it's like super fucking hard. It's like different CrossFits have kind of different scales of intensity. I mean, it's always intense, but some of them just go beast mode where they're like, we're gonna just do these crazy amounts of reps, and you're like, holy shit. Like this, I still go to CrossFit Invoke in Raleigh, and I really dig it. I used to go to Raleigh CrossFit. I really liked that there. I used to go to 12th State. I really liked the people there. I really liked the gym. But it's like I can't stay in some place too long. It's like I always need to kind of move on or evolve, I guess, or just try new thing, or just not be in the same spot, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. And with Invoke, it's like crazy because they'll just do it's like where normal gyms will stop and say like, oh, it's only like 10 calories on a rower. This place is like you have to do 50 calories on a rower, and then you have to do it like three more times in the workout. It just kind of it's like if you were gonna go for a run, and like your typical running group would be, okay, we're gonna do 3 miles. Then there's the other running group. It's like, okay, we're gonna do 20 miles today. It's like you can automatically see that it's just you need to put a lot more effort into finishing that task. So I've been going there, and I just haven't like I've been going there like 3 or 4 times a week, and I love it, but I just haven't been seeing the results I want because I'm also going out all the time, and I'm finding that I'm just eating shitty food, and I just feel like just I needed I don't know like two of my friends they're big into running, and they like they always lose weight, and I'm like, okay, well I'm going to this gym where I should be burning a shit ton of calories, and I'm not really like losing weight. I'm actually gaining weight, which is weird to me. And I'm pretty sure that I didn't gain like 8 pounds of fucking muscle since November, because that to me just sounds insane. So I'm like trying to do things more health wise. So all the things I just talked about kind of culminated where a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, I went for a run on a Thursday, and I started the run, and I was like, all right, and like I don't run with any music on. I just run in silence because my friend told me about it, and I can't, my ears are pretty big, and I can't find headphones that fit and stay in my ears when I'm running. They just fall out, and it's super annoying because you're in a groove, but like you feel that they start to slowly just exit your head, and then they fall out, and you can't really get into a groove. You can't concentrate on the run, and like, but you want to hear music because it helps you with your pace or just helps you stay sane. And when my friend a couple years ago said like that she doesn't run with music, I was like, all right, let me try it. And I think I've probably talked about this before, but then you realize that your brain is fucking loud enough that you don't need any music, and at the end it kind of calms down. So it's like you start with this head full of just marbles that are just banging around, and it's just all your thoughts about the past, the present, the future, the things you're worried about, the things you're excited about, and all. It's like this up and down of emotion the entire time you're out there, and then all of a sudden it starts to just kind of slowly go away because the pain of running starts kicking in, and all you can think about is how much you can't stand it. And then after a while you get the runner's high, and then you're like, okay, this is awesome. And without the headphones falling out of my head to annoy me or take away from that, like I'm more concentrated, or yeah, more concentrated, I'm concentrating more. And I heard years ago that Casey Neistat, who is gigantic on YouTube now and has been for years, like a decade ago, I stumbled across his Nike video that he did, and that it just like really motivated me at that time to work for myself and kind of do my own thing. And I just like the dude and follow him, and he's a big runner, and he said he I mean he'll run like 8 miles a day, and he's just super fit. And he was like, yeah, I go for runs. That's where I get my best ideas. So I start this run a couple weeks ago, and I just kind of say, all right, like give me an answer. Like just give me something by the end of this run. And I'm maybe about halfway through it, or about a mile and a half in, and I get this idea, it just pops in my head. I'm like, all right, I want to get into running. My buddy Bob's, he's big into running. We've been talking about it. He's been trying to get back into it more, or he was training for a half marathon. So we just kind of been communicating about it. So I was like, I'll do 90 days because this was a Thursday. So I was like, starting Monday, we'll do 90 days straight. We have to run 1 to 5 miles every day, or we'll owe each other $10 for every day that we don't complete the task. So I got home and I texted him. I was like, hey man, here's my idea. And he's like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. So that's what I'm in right now. I'm doing this challenge with him, and today is going to be day 17, I think. And I missed one day because I was in Savannah last weekend, and I was going to go for a run on Saturday, and we were staying in downtown, and I was meeting up with the group of friends I was hanging out with, and like, so I got up in the morning. I was hungover as fuck. Like, we went hard on Friday night. So I get up on Saturday and I just go grab a coffee. I mean, I got up at like, I think like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. This is like the latest I've stayed in bed in forever. And so everyone's like, well, we're gonna go start watching March Madness. And I'm like, okay, let me just kind of walk around town and just wander, do my thing. 'Cause I love doing that. I love to just be in a random place and just grab a coffee and just walk around. Like, that's if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. You just explore and you kind of just hang out with yourself, and it's just, I don't know, it's a blast. So I did that, and then I ended up doing that for like maybe an hour, and then I met up with them, and I started just drinking Bloody Marys. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna run. So I lost $10, but a couple days prior, Bob didn't go out for a run because he had a couple beers, and he's like, I owe you $10. So I was like, all right, canceled it out. But I don't want to. I mean, $10 is it's not a lot, but anytime I do a goal or a challenge with myself, always have to do a penalty, and I have to kind of involve someone or some and just people where there's like that accountability. And it typically works. I mean, I think anytime I've done this, it's definitely worked. And so that's what I'm in right now. And my goal is to, like, I really want to love running. Like, I want it to be something that I'm looking forward to, and I want to do it all the time. And I want it to, help with weight loss. So granted, from what I've learned, it's like 90% diet and 10% working out, which sucks so much. For some reason, I mean, working out is a lot harder than eating well. It should be. But like there's that mental thing that with me, I really like to go out and enjoy, but when you overindulge, it kind of becomes as not as it's like if you went out to dinner every single night and ordered like a fancy meal every night, it starts to just kind of just the excitement starts to go away. It's like you're trying to just relive that first time that was exciting, and you're trying to do it again and over and over. It's like you're trying to relive that moment over and over and over again. And it's like hearing your favorite song. What you're trying to do is relive the first time that song like really sparked something in you. So every time you listen to it, you're trying to get that spark again. And for me, it's like the same thing. Like if I go to the same place for a vacation, or if I go and do like every morning, I always get up and go get a coffee if I don't have gym in the morning. Like I do that because I enjoy it, and I'm trying to recreate that moment over and over again. And sometimes it happens, and sometimes I'm like, I'm really excited about this. So with going out to dinner, it's like I do it because there's something in me that just like get the fuck out of your place and go enjoy the town. And it's either because I like I'm trying to hold on to this single thing because I'm afraid maybe it's going to go away, even though I'm kind of on this mission to meet someone that I really connect with. So it's like this really weird place that I'm in. It's like the moment that I do meet someone, or like in the past where I have met someone that I like, it automatically goes, all right, cool. Like I want to fit them into my life. It's just automatic because you can think about meeting someone, but then you also think about, yeah, but I also like my own space. So you're only thinking about how, like, what I know is that I like my own space and I'm by myself. Like, that is 100% guarantee that I know. And it's like, I would like to have someone in my life for some reason. I don't know why. And, but if they're not there, there's that fear of like, yeah, but then they might take away from my time. But then when they show up, it's like this whole, they show up with like what you don't know. You're like, oh wow, this is great. Like this person's amazing, and I just like being around them. So I think like the whole going out around town is, it's like I'm just trying to live as much as possible, and I'm also just very aware of that you don't have that much time on this planet, and then afterwards it's like what happens. So the fact that I'm aware right now for the next how many ever decades, I'm trying to just live it, but in doing that, I'm just making unhealthy decisions, and then I feel like shit. So this comes into the whole running thing where I'm trying to think that like maybe this is going to turn into me feeling healthier or getting healthier. So that's a very bloated way of telling you why I'm doing this, which, that's what a podcast is all about. It's just about rambling for X amount of time and holding someone's attention who's listening, for whatever reason. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, and it's been fun. There's certain days where I'm noticing that I'm running faster, and there's certain days like where I'm also working out and then I'm running, and it is fucking brutal. Like yesterday, we did this workout and there was running involved, so I had completed 800 meters total in that workout, and then I waited hours. Like I got home and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna just dart out my door right now and go for at least a mile. So I waited until around 4 o'clock, I think, yesterday or 3:30, and I went for a run. And man, my legs are just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, good God, man, it's this is awful. And then some days you just kind of feel it, and then it's like it also like with the penalty there, you have to get out. So the weather right now, it's not consistent. So it's either like 45 or it's more like now it's like 50 degrees, which can feel pretty chilly. I mean, not as bad as like 30 or 20 or whatever the Northeast feels like. Fuck that shit. And then some days it's been like 70 where it's hot, or like 77 like last week where it was really hot and you're just like sweating your ass off. And then, but when you're forced to go out for a run, you're learning the elements and thinking like, well, I think that I'm going to hate running in the cold. But then I realized that about a mile in that I feel great because my body warmed up, and then it's cold outside, and I'm also the heat isn't fucking with my heart rate because it's manageable, and then I'm doing my best time. But then you think like, whoa, when it's warm outside, that's when I'm gonna run more. But then you go out and it's like almost 80 degrees, and you're like, holy shit, like I'm sweating my ass off, and I can't fucking, like I'm overheating, so I gotta slow down. So I don't know. I guess I mean I think that's just running. And running is just dealing with the elements, and every time it's either you. I mean, at the end you always feel great, especially just. I think you feel great because you just you get your heart rate up, your blood's moving, so that's gonna make you feel great. And you also another part is if you did a really good pace, then that's gonna make you feel good. But also you're excited that the fucking thing's over. So if you're out there for 30 minutes, if depending on how good your body feels, if it feels like crap and your legs are in pain the whole time, your feet are just also in pain, and it's hot. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I just finished this and I'm done. Um, so yeah, so I'm just looking, I'm always looking for that win or wins here and there, and I think you have to create new wins. It's like you can't just do like I don't expect that I'm gonna finish this 90 days and be like, well, that's gonna carry me for the rest of my life. It's like there's gonna be another thing that I'm gonna have to do, and that's where my mind is just like open to that. But I have to do these things, and I have to give it a certain amount of time, and I have to give myself penalty. So it was like with the comic, when I come up with these ideas for books, it's because I need to be like, okay, well, I just did a couple years ago when I was doing my sketchbooks. It's like, all right, cool, I did the sketchbook and I put it out around town, and I accomplished that. but I'm just not going to live off of that. I mean, if I was making millions of dollars off of that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll ride this wave for a really long time. It's kind of like Tim Ferriss in the 4 Hour Work Week. Like he wrote this like blockbuster book and made a ton of money on it, and he still brings it up to this day. And this was like 2010, maybe 2008, 2011. So he'll still talk about it. But for me, I don't have that yet. Like I don't have that again blockbuster thing that I've done. So I have to kind of keep creating things. But also, I think if I'm exercising this muscle, like maybe I'll trip over this idea that explodes. But if I'm already into, okay, well, I can't just ride that wave. I have to do other things. Like that's good that I'm, like I said, building that muscle. And that's why I do like these challenges with like running and things like that. And years ago it was quitting drinking for like 5 months, and then other things where like I've even done these challenges where getting books out. Like my first book that I did, I went into a group and was like, hey, if I don't get this thing just published by this week, I owe my buddy Nick Berry $200, and then I had it done. I mean, that's like the best thing about self-publishing is that you can just upload a file and it's like ready to go and it's like there. But I had to create the book, so I had to go back and redraw and digitize like 100 of my or 80 something of my comics, and then so they could be put into a layout, and then I had to lay that whole thing out and come up with the idea of the book, and then so it just I don't know. That's how I'm built. So that's what I'm doing, and I am on, like I said, day 17 is today. I think today's Wednesday. Yeah, this is also like a day after the Tuesday I'm supposed to launch my podcast. So again, I'm late, but I'm not missing this week. So there you go. And that, right now it's that challenge I gave myself about doing a podcast every day for this comic. Granted, I skipped a week a couple weeks ago, but I'm gonna keep going back on it. So I hope like when people listening to this, or I hope that people listening to this kind of get something out of it where it's like you kind of find in yourself ways to challenge yourself, and like maybe this is motivation for you. Like maybe the things that I'm doing are motivating you, like getting out and running. Like maybe you want to do something like that, so you got to think of your way to get out there and do that. Or maybe you want to work for yourself, and like I work for myself, so maybe you're getting something out of how that's going to happen for you. Or maybe you just really want to be single and you want to hear what it's like to be a single dude living, and this is like what I do in that mode. So I don't know, maybe like there's pieces in this of people probably getting out of it. And that's it. So to end this episode, go check out my book, Couples Checklist. It's yourdailybred.com, BRED, and you can check it out there. It's only $15. That's including shipping. And it's very fun. And see what else. Anything else I want to talk about? Go check out Food Adventures. It's a podcast my friend Beth Fuller has created, and we did episode 12 together, where we're taking questions, and it's really funny because she's really good. She's a food connoisseur, I guess to say. Like she's really just big into cooking and just very knowledgeable about food. And so she got laid off back in September. She was in an events planning. Obviously, that wasn't really doing well last year. And so she took some time to figure out that she wanted to work for herself. So she ended up, and we've known each other for over like 2 decades. And so we had a phone call back in November. She's like, I really want to do this podcast, or I want to work for myself. And so I've been giving her advice, and she's been doing it, and she's like kicking ass with it. So she started this podcast. She's doing food photography, and she's like really fucking good at it, really good at it. So you should check that out. And but yeah, episode 12. I think it is episode 12. Let me just go back on here. Yeah, episode 12. Her and I are answering questions where I come in from just like a whatever attitude of just, I don't know, just my sarcastic self, and then her knowledgeable self. And it's a pretty funny episode. I was pretty happy about it. So you can check that out if you want to. Food Adventures, wherever you podcast. And I'm also going to be on another podcast in a couple weeks. And so I'm trying to put myself out there and just be on more podcasts because I think that that's going to help. I'm just trying to promote this book. So if you know anyone who has a podcast that wants to talk to someone like myself so I can promote my book, but also just banter and hook me up. If you have a podcast, I'd love to be on it. I don't have anyone on this one. I mean, I had Beth on this one. So I don't really plan on doing lots of interviews for this one because I do that with my This Was the Scene podcast about the late 90s punk scene. And that takes up a lot of my time each week. And this one is just me sitting down, recording this, and then I'm going to just put it into my audio editing software, pump it out, upload it to my podcast server, and then it's going to be live. So that should happen within the next 30 minutes. That's how quickly you can get something done. So, all right, I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.